Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Democracy 3. My name is Aubrey Potato, and today we are fixing France. And we're doing a darned good job of doing it, if I do say so myself. Look at the number of problems we eliminated last episode. If you go back and check episode 3, I think, then we eliminated a whole heck of problems. So that is good for us. And if you look at this, uncompetitive economy is ending next turn. How great is that? And obesity will be ending in what I would estimate as 3 or 4 turns, perhaps. So we are sort of running a slight budget deficit, and we are going to want to cut back on stuff. What are we spending on? State pensions, kills private pensions, reduces poverty a bit. We can probably afford to scale this back a little bit. What are we on now? Yeah, let's scale it back by 10 billion or so. Well, actually we can't. Next turn we will scale back state pensions, and that will hopefully save us a little bit of money. We do have reserves to burn through, so that's not a problem. Poverty is under control. Charities have announced that the poverty is not a serious issue anywhere in our country. A series of government measures have managed to get the poverty easily under control, and these charities say our poverty rates compare fantastically with many of our neighbouring countries. That's great. That is good. We still have a budget deficit of 28.79 billion though, so that is less than ideal. The Human Rights Society criticizing us. Well, they don't have many members. Only 500,000. That is quite a lot of members, actually. Uncompetitive economy, of course, ended, which is going to be a little boost for our GDP, which is lovely. Very, very nice indeed. Corporation tax. We were thinking of getting rid of that, weren't we? Did we not get rid of it? Oh, okay, yes, we did get rid of it. That's good news. Obesity, wow, that's going down quicker than I expected, so it looks like it'll only be 3 turns, or 1 more turn after this. So 2 turns, actually. What am I even on about? Yes, so we need to scale back state pensions. And we're going to scale that back to probably a bit more harshly than what I just said, so we're probably going to scale that back by 15 billion or so. We don't really want to, but we don't really have a choice. We need to look at our expenditure and see where we're overspending. Military spending, we don't really want that to go because that's currently the only thing that is holding down our unemployment. Because otherwise it would just skyrocket, and that is not ideal. Torture deportation, we're going to deport him. Why not? Small budget surplus. Wow, we really recovered. We recovered very fast. Doesn't look like we're going to have to cut any more. That boost in GDP, right? That boost right there, that was because our uncompetitive economy ended and we saw a massive jump. So that has been very valuable for us. That has covered a shortfall of around 15 billion. In fact, even more than that, 18 billion, almost 20 billion. So by ending that bad event, we bumped our income by 20 billion. That's crazy. That is really crazy. Obesity is ending this turn. Let's do it. I'm excited. Way! Whaling, keep ban in place. I don't think it really matters. We have a budget surplus. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we have fixed France. We did it. We actually did it. How crazy is that? Now we have no problems in France. That is amazing. So, where do we go from here, do you ask? Well, we have a couple of things that we could probably try and do. We've currently got this egalitarian society thing going on because we're such an equal society. That is something that is very good, but we can also try and improve. So we can try and boost our productivity to make it through the roof, or we could try and boost our technological advantage. We could boost our technology, and that would allow us to have a technological advantage, which would be awesome. Are we going to do that, though? I think we probably are. Let's introduce some policies. Now, I think we're probably going to try and go for the space program. Right? And the reason we're going to do that, and we're going to fully fund it as well, is because it's going to decrease unemployment, it's going to increase patriots, it's going to make patriots happy with us, more state employees, and a nice boost to technology as well. So that is good. Let's look at our average temperature. It's going to start increasing soon, so we don't have forever. Let me just make that clear. We don't have we don't have an unlimited amount of time, unfortunately. Yep, you want to resign, that's fine. Terrorist captured, that's an awesome event for us. We have a minor budget deficit. I would expect that that deficit to disappear, considering the global economy is at its rock bottom, and our GDP can only grow from here on out. I say that it could obviously shrink and be bad, but that's not great. Currency strength, that's fine. That's looking good. Poor earnings. Poor earnings have gone up actually, a little bit recently. Wages are down. Wages are down a little bit, actually. Immigration. Can we perhaps cut back on immigration? I think we're going to go for that, actually, yeah. We want poor earnings to stay relatively high. Food price. Food price has gone down, so that is good that we increased our foreign relations. International trade is up, that is good. Foreign relations is continuing to increase, which is awesome. It's a good place to be. Those border controls will hurt us a little bit. Oh, no they won't actually. They'll only hurt us in terms of tourism. They won't hurt our foreign relations. That's fine. That is good. So we're pursuing a high productivity country with a technological boost, or technological advantage, should I say. That is our new aim, to achieve those goals, because fixing France is something that we have done. That's awesome. And it looks like we're working off our deficit. Our income is increasing. It has gone down substantially from then, so that is unfortunate. But at the same time, I'm so glad we got rid of that uncompetitive economy event. Thank goodness we did so. What is the option here? People smuggling. We are going to deport them. Unemployment. Unemployment is good, but it could be better. Could be a lot better. We're going to cut back on immigration, so that is going to reduce it. Industrial automation is something that we actually sort of like. That's sort of good. So we don't really want to cut that. Productivity. Productivity looks like it's leveling out. How can we increase that? Art subsidies. Boost that up by $1 billion or so. Yeah, I think we could probably do that. Capitalists don't like us though, so probably not. Any other education related policies? How's our education doing actually? Education is not as good as it could be. Education is not as good as it could be. Perhaps we could introduce some more education-centered policies. Would that be in public services? Yes, it would be. Technology colleges. That's probably something that we could do. Stem cell research, we don't really want to go near that. Equality, it's going to decrease equality. It's going to increase education, technology, and state employees. Okay, so we're going to do it. Hopefully that won't dent our egalitarian society too much. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Extreme nationalism. Well, that should never have developed. Next turn, it's going to go back to nothing. That's ridiculous. That's twice that's happened to me, actually. It's a bit strange. We're going to ban tracking. In a deep recession still. We've still got reserves. You know, we should be worried. I'm not worried about this. We are, we're still in a good place. Extreme nationalism, yeah, that ended. Thank goodness. Patriot GDP, awesome. That's a nice little boost. Still running a slight budget deficit. Next turn, however, I predict, in all my worldly knowledge, that we are going to be in the black, back in black. Any other policies that we can sort of introduce? I don't really think there's recycling. No, to be honest, we're in a good place. We're in a great place. Law and order, anything that we really sort of want? Not really. Everything is really really great, actually. How's our egalitarian society looking? Yeah, how's our technology colleges looking? That's university grants. What am I on about? Technology colleges. There we go. Funding you for 2 billion a turn. That's not that much. In comparison for what we get from you, that's good. I'm glad. Is our education up, by the way? No, it's not. It is going up, though. How long does it take this to implement? 4 turns to implement. So in 4 turns, we will see a much more educated France, which is awesome. You are going to go, are you? That's unfortunate. We're actually going to allow GM crops because we need to get our food price under control. Unemployment's looking really good now. Really, really good. And we hit a budget surplus, just as I predicted. Awesome. So now, what we're going to see, hopefully, is our GDP grow in line with the global economy, which is important because it means that we are going to get a heck of a lot of money. And that is good. That is very, very good indeed. I mean, it might be so good, we could introduce a Mars program. Who knows? Who knows, indeed. Let's go to the next turn. So technological advantage is actually what we were after, and we have it now. That's awesome. We did it. We really, really did it. And productivity now is going to see a boost, thanks to that. Unemployment. How do we get unemployment down further? How? How can we do it? This is great. This is exactly what I like to see. GDP is up, unemployment's down, and education is up. That is great. Positive discrimination. Reject, pass? Pass, I think, is probably the correct thing to do. Still no recession. A little bit, I think. But look, we are climbing. We are going to see a massive jump in income next turn. Wouldn't get cocky, though, because our economy might yet jump off a cliff, which is less than ideal. Egalitarian society, it's looking pretty darn awesome. That is great news. That is great news for us. How's the environment looking, actually? Environment's looking pretty amazing. Pretty amazing indeed. It looks like it's sort of up and down over here, so up and down near the top, so that's alright. Equality, we're a pretty equal society. That's a good place to be. That is darned amazing, if I'm honest. What policies were we going to introduce? Were we going to introduce any policies? I cannot recall. The Mars program. I think the Mars program was on our list of things to introduce. Oil pipeline attacked. Oil supply down. Patriot. Yeah, hate us a little bit more. Big surplus of 24.1 billion. Unemployment is continuing to fall. Continuing to fall, I might add. Thanks to the space program. Now, if we introduce the Mars program, then unemployment would continue to fall, like even faster. Let's have a look at the election report. The Green Party, who's our opposition, have very few members, and we have a lot of activists. We have more activists than they have members. That's a good place to be. That is a really good place to be. Let's look at introducing a Mars program. People want a Mars program. Who am I to deny them that right? Unemployment down massively, religious membership down, technology up, state employees. Wow, that's great. It's going to cost us 32 billion. I think it's worth it. I think it's going to be worth it. We don't have that many turns left in government anyway, so we might as well splash out on the money that we've saved up. Yeah, we've still got 330 billion. So we have another 9 turns to burn through that money. How many turns does it take for the Mars program to be implemented? 26 turns! Oh, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. That is way too long. What about the space program? 16 turns. We might make that just. But at the same time, we've already achieved this technological advantage that we were after. And it looks like it's still going. That's crazy. That's amazing. That is so good. That puts us in a very, very good place indeed. Unemployment is sort of fluctuating, but it will continue to fall down. That's awesome. Unemployment is the only thing that's holding back our productivity, and that will go down. We're going to relax the planning law. That will go down as we introduce the space program. So over the next 9 turns, we should see a reduction in unemployment, a further increase in GDP, as we're seeing here, and we should also see a little bit of a boost in our technological advantage sort of area. So since unemployment is so low, that means productivity is probably going to be at an all-time high, and that does look like it's at an all-time high. That's great. That is beautiful. We haven't had to fire a single member of the cabinet, even though you ain't happy. Well, you're a trade unionist, that's why. We're not going to really shuffle things around. We're 9 turns away. Banned landmines, yeah. We're 9 turns away from, or 8 turns away from ending. So I think we might as well just keep her in the job, and hopefully she won't quit. Let's look at the environment. Environment's pretty high. Let's continue. I would expect our GDP to fall very soon. Yes, exactly. The market meltdown. I was expecting that. I was expecting that. So, we're still running a surplus this turn, but we won't be next turn, for sure. Almost confident. Yes, human cloning. We're going to ban human cloning. I don't think it really matters. Unemployment is up and GDP is up. Well, why is unemployment going up? GDP. GDP increases unemployment, and our GDP is pretty high, you know? We're running a budget deficit of 18 and a bit billion. That's alright. At this stage in the game, it doesn't really matter. We've stockpiled money for this exact reasoning, so not too much of a problem. Darwin's legacy. Religion has been all but wiped from our country, leaving a society that believes in science, technology, and evidence rather than faith in religious texts. Awesome. That's awesome. That's really great. We have a budget deficit of 16 billion. To be honest, I'm not too concerned about that. We're still in the... We're going to reject software patents. We're still in a pretty darn good position in terms of everything, really. High productivity. That's exactly what we were after. That is exactly what we were after. Awesome. That is really, really great. Productivity is going down, though, so we don't want that to happen. Productivity. Can we change the labor laws so that we increase productivity? We don't really want to, do we? Let's try doing that. Flash crash. Currency strength, GDP, and wealthy income is down. Public Services Minister resigned. Okay. What an episode for things to go wrong in. We're still running a bit of a budget deficit. That's the least of our worries at the moment. Health has trickled down a bit. Education has gone down a tad. Poverty has gone up a bit. Crime is still at its bottom, though, so that's fine. And unemployment is now rapidly accelerating upwards. GDP is also in a ditch, burying its head, because just look at that. Within the space of 5 turns, we've seen 2 huge crashes. And I mean huge. We're going to have such a large budget deficit this turn. That's not great. To be honest, at this point in the game, I don't really care who we hire. That's not really an issue for us. Let's go to the next turn. Weather prediction technology. Wow, look at that. Look at that. That is crazy. We're doing so well. DNA database, we're going to allow the database. Budget deficit of 72 billion. You know what? I think we can actually maintain this. Because look at our GDP. Look at how elastic our GDP is. We've massively recovered. Wow, we basically recovered to pre-crash levels, which is nice. And that's in just a quarter, so that is good. We've now got 4 green dotty things, 4 green events that mean we're doing a pretty darn good job of managing the country, if I do say so. What else can we do? Not really much, to be honest. We're doing a pretty darn good job of doing everything. Unemployment is down, GDP is up. GDP has recovered very quickly, to be honest. I mean, GDP in 2 turns recovered faster. Well, recovered so fast that we're now at the pre-crash levels, which is nice. We're still running a budget deficit, though. I would expect 2 more turns, perhaps, being in a budget deficit, but it doesn't really matter because we're coming to the end of the playthrough anyway, so that really doesn't matter for us. The rare earth crisis. I hate to end. I hate to end with this rare earth crisis. We didn't introduce rare earth mining, so that is not gonna be be any help for us. Art subsidies will boost art subsidies. That might make people like us a little bit. Everybody likes us a little bit more. Boosting foreign relations is probably the only thing that we can do. But at the end of the day, that came along just at the end, so that is unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. I'm a bit disappointed by that, but hey-ho, let's go into the next election, see how we do. Let's start the count for the last time. Our party, wow. Wow, even better results than in the last election. So that is great. Let's have a look at the breakdown of the vote. Looks like we got capitalists back on our side. Motorists don't really like us. Wow, that's a bit interesting. Changes: health increased by 50%, education up 20%, crime down 25%. Yeah, that's the same as the last time, because it couldn't fall any further. Poverty down 22%, violent crime down 14%, the environment is up 30%. Technology is up 35%. That is quite good. CO2 emissions down by 47%. Unemployment down by 52%. That is great. Productivity up by over a quarter. Racial tension down by over a half. Foreign relations up 61.74%. And international trade up almost 30%. That is great. High earnings up. Middle earnings up. Poor earnings up. That is what you want to see. That is exactly what you want to see. Poor earnings and high earnings were obviously bigger increases than the middle earnings. But hey-ho, what can you do? An increase of 3.75% is still good. GDP was up by 34%. Bear in mind we just had 2 crashes, so considering that it was up 34% is actually pretty darn amazing. Tobacco usage was up. We never really tackled that, but it was never really much of a problem. Traffic congestion's down by 30%. Tourism is up by almost 30%. Alcohol consumption is down 67.02%. Average temperature is up, as per usual. Food price was up 20%. That was something that never really developed into a full-scale sort of problem. As we can see here, there was a slight little blip in the food price, and it looks like it was increasing over time, but hey-ho, it's not really our problem anymore. And industrial automation was up by 15% as well. So we're going to retire in glory. Ladies and gentlemen, my name's been ObjectPotato. If you enjoyed the final episode of Fixing France, then please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.